House File 85. Would you like to move House File 85 be referred to the Ways and Means Committee?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, Representative Lee moves that House File 85 be referred to the Ways and Means Committee. And you have a few amendments to this. Would you like to take, how would you like to proceed here?
Yes, please, Mr. Chair, if I could take the amendments first, and then once we go through the motion of adopting that, I would like to, after that, discuss the bill, and then I have a few testifiers too.
Okay, sure. Which amendment would you like to move first?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move the A4 amendment, please.
Okay, Representative Lee moves the A4 amendment. Could you just explain it briefly, since there are a few here?
Yep, so the A4 amendment in the bill removes the tax-related provisions that's in the bill, and tomorrow another companion or another clone of this bill will be heard in the tax committee, and Representative Her is also on this committee call. We'll be presenting that, and they'll be discussing that in the tax committee tomorrow, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of adopting the A4 amendment, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Which amendment would you like to move next, Representative Lee?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move the A5 amendment.
Okay, Representative Lee moves the A5 amendment. Which could you please explain that one briefly as well?
Yeah, so Mr. Chair, the A5 amendment really gets to the heart of what the bill we're trying to do, and really structure it as to why we have a purpose of creating this corporation to structure the board with people of color and indigenous people, and why grants should go to these communities. And so that's just more just to structure it.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor of the A5 amendment, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Do you have, which amendment would you like next, Representative Lee?
Mr. Chair, the last amendment that I have is the A2 amendment, and this is to address a concern that was raised by the Public Facilities Authority in the bill. We listed them as the executive director to run the corporation that we are attempting to establish, and they said that they don't have the ability to do so, and so the amendment changes the PFA director to one that is hired by the corporation, and in the meantime, the Commissioner of Deed is serving in that capacity.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion to the A2 amendment? Okay, all those in favor of adopting the A2 amendment, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so that concludes your amendments, Representative Lee?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, would you like to describe the bill briefly then?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members, for the opportunity to present House File 85 as amended. The trauma of George Floyd horrific killing remains deeply felt within our community, and as we work to address the structural racism that made this tragedy possible in the first place, we also must step up and help ensure a badly damaged and destroyed small businesses so that they have the opportunity to rebuild. And I just want to take a few seconds here just to say thank you to a lot of the committee members here on both sides of the aisles for visiting the city of Minneapolis, visiting North Minneapolis in my district, in South Minneapolis and St. Paul, to really see the destruction that both our cities have faced. And so I just want to say thank you all to the community members that have been able to be there. And so, Mr. Chair, this bills create a long-term framework for equitable growth, which establishes the Metropolitan Area Redevelopment Corporation, which will provide direction and leadership in developing a long-term redevelopment and transformation plan built through an equity lens. We are not just looking at how we will rebuild the affected areas and reimagine it, but we are addressing the long and historical exclusion of Black, Brown, and Indigenous people from owning assets, generating wealth, and passing it down so that these communities can have generational wealth. In doing this, we will finally be addressing the root causes of generational poverty, structural racism inherent to how we build and develop, and finally close the wealth gap here in Minnesota. And this long-term plan creates a system where people in community, from community, build their community and prosper in that community. And so, Mr. Chair, to the bill as amended. So it starts with section 3, which is the definitions of the bill. I just want to point to line 2.28, the definition of city. And Ms. Rudolph sent out an email yesterday just to show members that the definition of the city here means statutory or home rule charter city in the metropolitan area. And until December 1st, 2025, city means only the cities included in the executive order number 2064. That includes Minneapolis, St. Paul, Roseville, Brooklyn Center, West St. Paul, and Blaine. And then I want to move on to section 4, which is the creation of the Metropolitan Area Redevelopment Corporation. Subdivision 2 talks about the membership of the board, 9 members appointed by the executive council. And then the membership of the board has to be people of color or indigenous person. At least 5 members must have an interest in and knowledge of the needs of the areas affected by the civil unrest. And at least 4 must have experience with or knowledge of public health, economic development, urban development, nonprofit finance, and community empowerment. Subdivision 3 talks about the chair being elected by among the members. Subdivision 4 is the terms. Subdivision 5 and 6 talks about the vacancies and removal of board members. Subdivision 7 talks about the compensation of the board members at $10,000 per year so that we could compensate their expertise and their time commitment to this redevelopment corporation. And then moving on to subdivision 8 talks about the state auditor auditing the finances of the corporations. Section 5 is where the majority of the power and duties of the corporation lies. Subdivision 1 is the general authority. Subdivision 2 talks about adopting bylaws. Subdivision 3 is about the meetings and adhering to our data practices. Subdivision 4, we amended that for the executive director. And then subdivision 5 is regarding the redevelopment plans. It provides for the corporation and the board to determine the maximum grant amounts from this corporation, the purpose for how it may be used, how to account for the grant funds, how results will be determined, and annual reporting to the legislature. And then Part B talks about how the plan must be developed using art and culture, must identify expertise, maximizes resources, support projects as incubators, and use public investment for seed money for public-private partnerships. And then moving on to subdivision 6, it talks about the grants where they had to develop criteria for awarding grants and provide for equitable distribution. Part B is for a nonprofit organization that is led and has a staff of board of at least 51%. So that's one of the amendment that we adopted. Part C is around having 40% of the fund for organizations with operating budget of less than $500,000. Part D is grantee must complete the project within 2 years unless another time frame is specified in the agreement. And then Part E, projects that may be funded under this grant includes conducting community engagement, planning and implementation, acquiring property, serving as incubators for small businesses, developing and improving organizations, and then training and skills development of the organization, or increasing capacity for other services. And subdivision 7 just talks about the annual reporting, Mr. Chair, and that's all that I have for the bill. And Representative Hurd has been working on this bill with me, and we're both here to answer any questions from members. And I do have 2 testifiers on this bill too.
Sure, thank you. I do have one member on the list, but I think I'd like to get through the testimony first. So the first person I have on the list is Kelly Drummer. And if you could please keep your testimony to just a couple minutes, that would be really helpful.
Good evening, representatives. I'm happy to be a part of this call today and part of this hearing for this bill. Migazee was a victim of...
I'm sorry, if you could just please identify yourself for the record.
Kelly Drummer, Migazee president. And I just want to, say that Migazee was destroyed by the fire, not necessarily by rioters just being kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time, but what is happening on our block right now is our building will be demolished and every building on that block, and including possibly the post office. And so other businesses, minority-owned businesses in the area are in fear that a developer that would come in and then develop that land. And so all of these businesses would be lost. So I really believe it's really important that this bill is passed and that our community has ownership in this development. Our community has lots of ideas of what could happen. A few of us have already met about the ideas of what could happen on that whole block. So I just encourage all the representatives to really think about this and have our community lead this work, and that it's important that we are a part of it in the decision making. A lot of us are business owners. We owned our buildings. We're unfortunately only had our building. We weren't even in the building for a whole year, and it was destroyed. We had invested $1.5 million in renovating it. We bought it for $825, and we have a loan, and so we're at a loss. We have insurance, but even though insurance, we are still at a loss to rebuild what we had. So we are not alone. Other businesses are in that same predicament, and we do have the capacity to do it ourselves in fundraising, loan, and development. So I just encourage you to really think about our communities and how we could do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Drummer. The other testifier I have is Adair Mosley. If you could just please identify yourself for the record and then proceed with your testimony.
Sure. Good evening, Adair Mosley, dear committee chair and members of the committee. I have the privilege and honor of serving as the president and CEO of Pillsbury United Communities, a 140-year-old community impact organization anchoring its work in ensuring that every person has personal, social, and economic power. I believe the bill before you will serve as an equalizer and an opportunity to justly build communities and for those that live and labor in them. COVID-19 and the deep injustices unearthed over the past few months highlight what we have all known. We didn't just arrive here. The systems have been systematically perpetuated and implemented to exclude the economic vitality of Black, Brown, and Indigenous communities. We have a unique opportunity to rebuild a more just and inclusive society. We have an opportunity to live up to our values and the promises we make to every resident of this state. This bill will ensure communities are reimagined with intention and that residents in this great state can live, work, and play near opportunity. This bill can contribute to building generational and community wealth through enterprise development, corridor redevelopment, and quality affordable housing. All assets every community needs in order to thrive. As a person who's lived in both rural Minnesota, growing up in the St. Charles and Winona area, and then now living here on the north side of Minneapolis, I believe all communities want to live near opportunity and assets. Lastly, the reimagining and revitalization of our communities needs leaders that are proximate to the issues, have the lived experiences to contribute to rebuilding, and are done with those most affected by the decision. This effort will need Black, Indigenous, and people of color leading it, stewarding, and championing this work. We as an organization, Pillsbury, are prepared to work with such an institution. We are prepared to launch a community development corporation that would be congruent with the Metropolitan Area Redevelopment Council, to be able to acquire land in a buy and hold strategy, to be a community developer, soliciting proposals and working through an end-to-end process of planning, conceptualization, and development and implementation in our communities, to rebuild and reimagine our communities in a more just way. And we can get there through having an entity and the resources to do that. We are positioned to receive these resources and actualize on the vision that has been articulated in this bill. We don't have to wait. We can touch justice today. And in my final thoughts, I leave you with, there isn't a yesterday to return to, only a tomorrow to resolve. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mosley. Appreciate your testimony. I don't have anybody else who signed up for testimony, so we'll go to member discussion. Representative Quam.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And would the author enlighten us on what entity this was copied after?
Representative Lee.
So Representative Kwan, so portion of this is a replication of the Destination Medical Center down there. But, you know, for us, and having heard and having conversation with community members like Mr. Mosley have said is, you know, what can we really look and, you know, think differently and think innovatively to really have a community-driven process. And so that's why we have structured it this way, so that we actually are intentional about having our community members at the table. They are the one that will be making the decision as to what they want to see as we rebuild and move forward and developing our communities, you know, not just in Minneapolis and St. Paul, but the surrounding communities.
Representative Quam.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm a little bit confused in that the diversity of entities that had input into membership components of the DMC. I mean, there is some diversity in that. My understanding is that one group is appointing everyone, and that is part of my concern, is that there should be, well, part of the reason why we're in the bad situation is a repetition over decades by an entity or entities that haven't or have neglected these neighborhoods in these communities and cause some of the issues. I mean, I've seen that for several terms. That's why I've been trying for a long time. The huge amount of LGA that is a component of from old housing and housing need percentage hasn't been dedicated to reinvesting urban renewal and helping those neighborhoods to rebuild. I mean, that's what the money's there for, and it's been coming for decades. And I was hoping that one component of your bill would be say, hey, these cities, that portion of the LGA that you get for old housing and housing need should be dedicated to that. I mean, I've had a bill for several terms trying to do that. I think that would be a wonderful component into this bill. And that would be some ongoing, consistent funding source. And, you know, that would be, I think, a good way to include that. Some of my reservations are, you know, again, you're appointing a board from one entity is making the appointments. I think that there needs to be, like in the DMC, you've got the county, the city, you've got other entities that over the years, because apparently this is supposed to be a long-term approach, that things might change, or you've got a diversion of viewpoints and opinions that go into so that you have a better shot of not missing something. You know, I like the intent, but I have a lot of reservations on some of the implementation points. And I would love to try and, you know, offline help with, you know, some of these points, because frankly, I think we could come across with a better improved program to fix this and overcome some of the symptomatic or systematic issues that have plagued that portion of the metro. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Quam. Representative Elkins, if you could be brief, we have a testifier on the next bill. I know who would need to.
Reading through the bill language, Representative Lee, it looks like the agency would be funded by diverting a portion of the current transit sales taxes assessed by the counties. Am I reading the bill correctly?
Representative Lee.
So, Mr. Chair, the A4 amendment that we adopted has deleted that portion of the bill, and the funding mechanism will be discussed tomorrow in the tax committee by Representative Her and House File 87.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Representative Vogel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and to the author. Looking at the 7.6, the bonding, I look back at the amendment. It doesn't seem to affect that part. I think it just affects the subdivision one above it. How does taking that sales tax money away affect the bonding that's potentially being done here?
Representative Lee, this is a little outside our committee's jurisdiction, but I'll give some latitude here.
So, Mr. Chair, in our amendment, the A4 amendment, we did delete the section 6 around financing and bonding.
Okay. Representative Vogel.
Okay, so that whole section is now gone.
Yes.
The bonding is gone as well.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I don't see any additional members on the list, so do you have any brief closing remarks, Representative Lee?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And, just to address a few points that Representative Kwan made, I think that, this is definitely time for us to rethink how we are going to reinvest in our community and really have a transformational redevelopment of, not just the cities that were impacted by the civil unrest, but look to the future. And so we really need to, have this process be driven by the community and be led by the community and be intentional about this. And so I just want to say thank you to members for having this conversation. And, as we work towards recovery for our metropolitan region, myself, I'm open to hearing from other members on any suggestions that they may have. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Lee. With that, Representative Lee renews his motion that House File 85 as amended be referred to the Ways and Means Committee. The clerk will take the roll.
Representative Freiberg.
Yes.
Representative Salk.
Yes.
Representative Quam.
No.
Representative Bonner.
Aye.
Representative Elkins.
Aye.
Representative Gomez. Representative Heinrich.
No.
Representative Cagle.
Yes.
Representative Lehman. Representative Lehman.
No.
Representative Lee.
Aye.
Representative Lilly.
Yes.
Representative Mason.
Unmute yourself, Sandy.
Representative Mason.
Yes.
Representative Nash.
No.
Representative Nelson.
Aye.
Representative Tice.
No.
Representative Vogel.
No.
Representative West.
No.
9 ayes and 7 nays, Chair.
Okay, the motion prevails. Thank you, Representative Lee.